productivity and profit. Did a podcast episode yesterday with Zach Babcock, who is just a brilliant podcast guy. He's going to produce my new one. And we talked a little bit about reaching your goals. And he mentioned something about, if he doesn't lose body fat, I'm just going to share this because it was on his podcast, so it's public. If he doesn't lose body fat during the week, he then gets a brutal workout as punishment. And that seems to work. That's kind of what we've been taught. We've been taught this like carrot and stick, punishment and reward process of influencing people. And I'm not a big fan of it. I don't use it on myself. There's a level of like, don't negotiate with yourself. And, but at some point, here's the problem. And I'm bringing this up because it's prevalent. It comes up a lot on the holidays, right? Like, if I go off my diet, then I have to have a really brutal workout on January 1st or whatever. And here's the problem. The problem is my number one rule is don't negotiate with ourselves. And when we have punishment and rewards, we start negotiating with ourselves. That's exactly what we do. So if I say, hey, look, if you don't lose weight every time you weigh in, this is going to be your punishment. That seems to be like good incentive, right? The problem is you've now given, in this scenario, I have given you the ability to make a decision whether or not it's worth it. You can say, you know what? I'm going to eat all these cookies and it's totally worth it to do that punishing workout, right? And then what we do is say, hey, look, I'm willing to pay the price. The problem is both the cause and the effect are completely arbitrary, right? So you want to be really, really careful with your kids, with your employees, with your, this is actually, there's a ton of studies on this. And I'll give you one of the examples is there was a daycare that used to have parents that be 4 or 5 minutes late, like after the daycare closes. And so the daycare said, you know what, we're going to fine you. We're going to fine you for every minute you're late, right? That's the punishment. You know what happened? More parents started showing up late, and the ones that were late showed up later because they can now make the decision, is it worth, $20 an hour to be a little bit later? And they can make that decision. And so a lot of times when we do punishment and reward, we actually have the opposite of the intended consequence. The consequence is the opposite of what we expect because we can now decide, is the punishment worth it? Yes or no. And we can continue to behave in a way that is not efficacious to our goals, right? So I'm thinking about that because the holidays, everybody's talking about like, holidays, food. I'm going to take a day off, but then I'm going to work, 20 hours the next day. And like, there's all these things of like that come from guilt and shame, but there's all these people rewarding themselves and punishing themselves. And if you watch the actual behavior, it's not improving. They're just finding ways to justify their poor behavior, which that's not a good cycle to get in. So think about that. I'm going to teach Nick Smith in just 20 minutes. And I just launched the newsletter today. It's going to be probably, hopefully the most powerful thing I've ever done. It's going to definitely get you the most time and effort. I'm taking all of my bandwidth and I'm putting it into our internal offers. We have, 5 or 6 companies running right now. And I have about 40 private clients. And that's all of my attention is going to private clients and our internal offers. And then 3 or 4 hours a day, I'm just going to write about what's working, what's not working, what that means for you, what that means generally, why I think it's working. I'm going to put that together in a monthly newsletter and send it out via mail. So that's pretty cool. That's all I got for you. But think about your carrots and your sticks. When you go, here's what I'm going to set up. Every time I swear, I have to put $1 in the swear jar, right? All you have done is given yourself permission to swear as long as you have $1, right? That does not eliminate the underlying behavior. So think about that. Okay. Peace.